Da-da.
Hey, we're live. We're live.
Let me see if I can. Oh, Facebook just showed me a memory that we had of my cat sitting on the old mixer.
Do you remember that?
I do. From 9 years ago.
Yeah. I often wonder uh all these memories popping up, like between um all the different services like Google Photos and
Yep.
Facebook
Yep.
and uh Office 365, that was the other one, because I upload my pictures there from uh my Samsung gallery. And I'm like, can I forget anything?
Nope.
Even the stupid pictures I take just to document something or
Here's
uh
here's an
yeah,
expense report
yeah.
receipt from 2009.
I, I
Lovely.
did actually I did get that. I was like, oh, memory. Okay. And then after first get up in the morning, I look at it and it says it's like a receipt from McDonald's or something.
Yep. I get that like on the background to my phone. It's like, what do we
Yeah,
have today? A
a receipt.
random Thanksgiving picture with my parents, I think. No, it's like, wow.
Oh, it's when we ate at the Casa de Burrito. And it's got
And it's blurry.
it's blurry. That's right.
All
You
right.
know,
Hey,
hey, but I'll
get
tell you something. Well, we can start, I guess. So we can
we
just
should get
chat for a minute.
started.
All right,
All right.
go ahead.
Okie doke. You ready to go?
Yeah.
Okay. Audio levels look pretty good. And we're going in 3, 2, 1. Technorama episode 760 Jingle Bells and Gigawatts. Hey, welcome to Technorama, the show that takes a lighthearted look at tech, science, sci-fi, and all things geek. If this is your first time joining us, welcome to the show. Yay! It's your Christmas present. If you're joining us again, you get another Christmas present. Your subscription
Yay.
is due.
Your subscriptions do.
I'm Chuck
Right.
Tomasi from Phoenix, Arizona. And yes, I said gigawatts because that's what Doc Brown said. And I believe it's the true pronunciation. And joining
Okay.
me right here, coming up with the title, is Craig Steff. How are you, Craig?
I'm doing good. Just trying to deal with actually it's been cold the last week and a half. Like the temperature's really kind of dipping and finally
You
coming
find
back up.
cold?
Oh, it was like in the probably high in the 40s and the 20s at night.
Ooh, brr. So
I
this
know.
man who lived in Michigan and Wisconsin
See,
for
I
48
can't
years.
complain to you. However, I think you living in Phoenix for a while has made you soft.
It definitely has. You can always tell the locals from the visitors. It's
Yeah.
54 degrees outside or about 12 C, maybe 13. And the visitors will be walking around in shorts and the locals will have, a hoodie or a jacket on.
Hmm. Right. Well, yeah, even there where you're in Phoenix, you're like, "Oh, it's cold outside," and you can still sit outside and have a drink.
Yep.
Yeah.
As long as you're
So,
sitting in the sun, it's a beautiful day.
yeah, right.
We should be getting up to about 80 on Wednesday. I'm looking forward to that.
Actually, I'm surprised the temperature is kinda coming up for a little bit, which is
It'll
nice.
dip. It'll dip.
Yeah, should
Usually
be
it's
up
like the
again.
first, second week of January, we can get some freezing conditions. So if you have any like potted plants or something, you gotta bring them in.
Frost warnings.
We've had some frost warnings.
Yeah,
All right, enough of the weather report from around the world.
yeah, there you go.
Hey, Mike Robinson's on. How you doing? Thank you. You can probably take the pre-show banner down too. There we go. What do you say we do some feedback from our listeners?
Yeah.
Well, here comes the music, whether you like it or not.
Letters, oh, we get letters. We get your letters every day. Mailman, mailman, mail today. Reach right in and pull one out. Those letters, I love those letters. Let's find out what you got to say.
Oh boy.
Mailman, mail today.
Hey, are we doing a show next Sunday, or should I wear the Santa hat tonight?
You can wear it tonight. We can wear it both nights. What's the problem?
Okay. Well, when's a Christmas celebration? This isn't. If it's not a Christmas celebration, I'm not going to wear it. I got the tree set up.
Yeah.
It's actually leftover from a work event.
Well, actually, if we record next week, we can post on Christmas.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the point.
Well, why not? Okay. We'll see what we can do. Yeah.
Alrighty. Our question of the week for you last time was: you're building a themed escape room based on a scientific concept. What's the concept and what's the most challenging puzzle? Lone Guy's
Right.
Night writes in and he says, well, the room is on top of a Saturn V rocket. And the event after getting locked inside is the rocket is set off to an orbital trajectory. So escape in less than 2 hours or else, I guess. And
Wait a minute. If it
back and says
what
from the room or reach escape velocity.
right. Well, wait a minute. So if you're on the Saturn V rocket,
Yep.
and it's already taken off, you probably don't want to escape from it. Right?
You're locked inside and set the rocket is set off to an orbital trajectory. Yeah,
Oh,
this doesn't I don't know if we've left Earth or not.
that's what I'm saying. Oh well. Okay.
Okay. Pick one.
Yeah, Kyle Nishioka says optical illusions, finding the exit in a hall of mirrors with a door embedded in a mirror wall.
Oh,
On top of that, booby trap fake doors are spread randomly throughout the room.
guy's cruel.
Wow. I
Good.
keep seeing myself.
Where's the door? You just have to do like Conan and just start smashing mirrors.
Yeah. Yes.
Mike
Mike
Robinson
Crom.
says,
Hi, Crom, I'm getting out of here.
Mike says, elements. There is a full list of the elements and the music to Tom Lair's The Element song. You have to get at least mostly 80% of the song correct to escape. If Harry Potter can do it, it can't be that hard.
Right. Mike Robinson also says, let me see, click to see more. A room based on a scientific discovery. Among other tasks, you have to answer the question, what is the method some scientists use to discover things? By either manipulating certain wires on a device to light up certain words or typing it into some digital device. The room being created for adults, he put adults in quotes. What does that mean? Will require some variation of the answers. Let's F around and find out. Or hold my beer and watch this. Then the question and answer must be written in a notebook to escape. But you don't take the notes. You are just screwing around. Is the concept of the quote to be discovered?
Yeah, if you don't record your observations, what is it? It's a famous phrase. Dr. Carl says it all the time, and he got it from the Mythbusters. Without evidence, it's just screwing around, something like that.
Yeah, what is the
John Kratzer says DNA. You have to figure out what the genome is for the people you are participating with. Yikes!
Hold still.
Not sure I like that one. One,
Yeah.
two, let's see. GCA. Stop. I'm losing track. GCA. TTC. Where was I?
Yeah.
All right, moving on. We got a couple more.
Hold still, Chuck. I need a sample.
Ow. There's your sample.
Yeah.
Jerry Lindro says a screw pump. The trick will be you have to spin the whole room to get to the top. Like one of those Archimedes screws.
Yeah. Oh boy. All right. John Byers says theme 007, like a British spy theme from World War II era, with lots of gadgets and spy related puzzles, including decryption, logic, etc. And you've got to be the Bond theme. You got to have the Bond theme playing with a bomb counter on a countdown. Reminds me of the McGruber from Saturday Night Live. Remember that?
We were driving out to a Christmas party last night. We heard Barbara Streisand singing a Christmas carol, and she did it in a very Streisand-esque.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And Donna said, "Should put this woman on a Bond movie theme."
Yeah.
It could have been. She could have
Right.
easily been the singer for Goldfinger.
Sure. John continues, the most challenging puzzle for this, the Enigma machine, modeled after the famous cipher machine.
Yep.
We give them Turing's bone machine and clues to help use the bone machine to decrypt the cipher and shut off the bomb.
How about an escape room where they give you like an encrypted email message?
Encrypted.
Here, decrypt it and you get out, but you don't
I got
have the public or private key, so good luck.
I got another one. You're in an escape room. It's a scam detection, and you have to go through all the emails and determine if it's a scam or not.
That sounds like our annual security training.
Yeah. Hey, wait a minute. I am in that escape room. What?
Yep. I escaped.
You escaped. Yeah, you did. That's right.
All right. That was fun. We'll have another question for you at the end of the show, and
Yeah.
we'll put it on social media so you have a chance to answer it online. Thank you to everybody who sent in your suggestions. Stick around to the end of the show if you want a head start on next week's. But until then, we are doing the history thing. On this day in history for December 18th, 2024, it's the 353rd day of the year in the Gregorian calendar. There are just 13 days.
13 days.
Ready to roll that baby over soon.
Yeah.
13 days left in 2024. It was on this date in 1833 that the national anthem of the Russian Empire, God Save the Tsar, was first performed.
Okay. And December 18th, 1865, U.S. Secretary of State William Seward proclaimed the adoption of the 13th Amendment prohibiting slavery throughout the United States.
Same William Seward that bought Alaska for 2 cents an acre?
Yeah.
Seward's Folly?
Seward, that's right.
Also today in 1892 was the premiere performance of The Nutcracker by Pyotr Ilyich Tchaikovsky in the St. Petersburg, Russia.
And on this day, and on December 18th, 1898, Gaston de Chasseloup Labat set his first officially recognized land speed record of 63.159 kilometers, which is 39.245 miles per hour, in the Jean-Tard electric car.
I apologize on behalf of all French people here for Craig's French. You're supposed to say, pardon my French on all that.
Yeah, right. Okay.
That same date in 1958, Project Score, the world's first communications satellite, was launched. I thought Telstar 1 was. Anyway.
Okay. On December, I thought it was too. Maybe not. On December 18th, 1966, Saturn's moon Epidemius was discovered by astronomer Richard Walker.
Soviet Soyuz program. Soyuz 13, crewed by cosmonauts Valentin Lebedev and Pyotr Klimuk, was launched from the Baikonur Cosmodrome in the Soviet Union on this date in 1973.
Now, again, pardon my French. On this day, in December 18th, 1981, the first flight of the Russian heavy strategic bomber Tu-160, the world's first combat aircraft, largest supersonic aircraft, and the largest valuable sweep wing aircraft, was built.
There was nothing to pardon in there. There was nothing hard to pronounce.
I know. Just go with it.
December 18th, 1999, NASA launched into orbit the Terra platform, carrying 5 Earth observation instruments, including Aster, Ceres, Miser, Modus, and Muppet.
Moppet.
Foxy from Battlestar Galactica?
Yeah, exactly. And it was on this date in 2018, pardon my Russian, a meteor exploded over the Bering Sea with a force over 10 times greater than the atomic bomb that destroyed Hiroshima in 1945.
Happy birthday goes out of this date to German explorer Philipp von Hutten, born on this date in 1505.
And Christopher Polhem was the Swedish physicist and inventor, was born 363 years ago today.
English physicist and academic Nobel Prize laureate J.J. Thomson was born on this date in 1856.
And some of you may have heard about this guy. I'm not sure. Joseph Stalin, the Georgian Russian marshal and politician, General Secretary of the Communist Party of the Soviet Union, was born on the state in 1878.
Uncle Joe, everybody's favorite.
Uncle Joe.
American engineer invented the FM radio. Edward Howard Armstrong. He was born 134 years ago today.
Yeah. Esther Litterberg, American microbiologist, was born on that same date in 1922.
Also turning 90 today is Russian colonel, engineer, and cosmonaut Boris Volynov. Volynov.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Transpose 2 letters.
An American mathematician and academic, Lauren Bloom, was born on this date in 1942.
English musician Keith Richards is 81 today.
Wow.
It looked like he was 81 about 60 years ago.
He was born old. And also turning 78 today is American director, producer, and screenwriter, co-founded DreamWorks, Steven Spielberg. You may have heard about him from a couple of indie films.
Yeah, indie films. American actor and producer Brad Pitt is 61 today.
And also born on that same date in 1975, Australian singer-songwriter Sia.
American singer, songwriter, producer, and actress Christina Aguilera was born on this date in 1980.
And last but not least, American singer Billie Eilish is 23 today. Excuse me.
Doesn't it seem like Billie Eilish should be older than that?
I thought so, but
Yeah,
I
me
know
too.
her and her brother are young, but still.
Okay, listener birthdays this week. We've got a few for you. December 20th, Phil Burchell, who writes, the 9-year-old who started listening to Technorama turned 21 this year, and that was 7 years ago. So do the math.
Oh, whoa.
For making us old, as many of these events do. 21st has 2 birthdays. John Robinson Kolkaiser. I'm going to go, or
Yeah.
Jan. I have no idea if this is a German or otherwise pronunciation. Also, James Ballard, a.k.a. Carrick Sindru. 22nd, we have 3 birthdays. Bo Pace, Luke Chuck Stalker Smith. Uh-oh, we're running out of music. Jason Maloney is on the 22nd, Richard Green on the 23rd, and Mad Boom on the 24th. That's the way it was on this day in history for December 18th, 2024. Quick, get the banner. We got to tell them how to get on the birthday calendar. If you want to be on the birthday calendar, you go over to chuckchat.com/birthday, fill out the form, and we will give you a shout out at the appropriate time of year. Because if it is your birthday this week, very cool for you. We wish you all the best. And
Hey,
if you're not on the
is
calendar,
it really cool? This is like one of those times your birthday is a little close to Christmas and you get like one gift
no, you don't. No, you don't. You celebrate the whole week.
the whole week. Okay.
Yeah. People are coming over, and every gift is for you. That's
Okay.
not how it works.
All right.
All right.
I don't know. Mine's in January, so I don't know.
Say good news, everyone.
Oh, I just said that for Fry's benefit.
We have some space news for you.
Hey, wait, before you move along. I got
Yes.
one question. Or not question, but Luke Smith, remember we met him at Dragon Con.
A couple of times.
Yeah. His birthday was he was born in 2000.
It's 24 today.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, wow. Speaking of getting old.
Uh-huh.
And then the other thing that, as we're recording this, today was when Superman the movie came out. And I was like, oh, great. And it's like, oh, by the way, it was 46 years ago. I went, oh. So I was like 9 when it came out.
Uh-huh.
Can we stop time or something for a little while?
I'll stop the world and melt with you. Finally,
All
a
right.
chocolate company used that commercial. If only a finance company would use Heart song, How Do I Get You Alone?
What? That doesn't sound good. All right.
They're lending money, right? Lending.
Yeah.
trade
How do I
business.
get you a loan if you got money?
How do I get you a loan?
Oh, how do I get you a loan? Not how do I get you a loan so we can steal your money?
Oh,
That's what I was
I'm
thinking
not
when you said
thinking
that.
about it right. Anyway, moving on. Jupiter. It has a moon, Io, the closest moon to the planet. It's about the size of our moon. And we know that it's volcanic. In fact, it's the most volcanic body in the solar system that we're aware of.
Hmm.
And science has recently tried to figure out, is it just, we know that it's being stressed and heated up from tidal forces, being pushed and pulled from the gravity when it's in an elliptical orbit, it's going squish squat, almost like an accordion. And they wanted to know, is it one pool of magma, kind of like the Earth's core has one just
Yeah.
giant core of wet, heavy, hot rock? Or is it more localized? And they recently determined, thanks to the Juno space exploration mission, that it is, drum roll please. That's as
That's
close
not,
as it gets to a drum roll.
that's not quite okay.
It's the only thing I got with drums in it.
Yeah.
It is actually localized. A lot of those eruptions are
Little
local
pockets.
magma chambers. Yeah,
So little pockets of
little
magma.
pockets
Okay.
of magma.
Hmm.
Now, this is significant for understanding other planetary bodies that are also exhibiting similar tidal forces, like Enceladus and Europa, and how they may work and what's underneath the surface that we can't tell, and maybe how other things formed. So, a lot of good information and exploration. Just kind of goes back and says, we don't know everything. We have to keep exploring and keep doing observations and keep doing experiments. So that's I found that fascinating. Thanks for
I
finding
think
that.
it just goes to show the variety of things that can be happening, not just in our solar system, but elsewhere, because who
Yep.
knows? I mean, it's amazing.
You bet. All right, second we have a Hacks of Strange Stories. We're out of the news already. Wow. Cruising through the show.
Yeah.
You've probably seen some of those videos where people are asking their dog question, or the dog has the big button pads where they go, food now or walk.
Yeah. Right.
And they usually give 2, sometimes even 3 words uh, to indicate their intention, their desire. And they want to know, can dogs really understand? Can they really communicate? Or are they just reacting to certain conditions that give them outcomes?
Hmm.
You're probably familiar with the old story of the horse that could count.
Yeah.
They'd
Yeah.
say, count to 7. Stampy, whatever the horse's name was, and it would start stomping its foot, and it would read the body language of the person who gave the number, and they were doing something very subtle, and then it would stop. We got to 7. Like, wow, that's amazing. The horse can count. Well, they wanted to know, are dogs kind of doing the same thing? Is
Right.
it when the dog pushes the button that says outside, and the person gets up and lets them out, or gives them a treat, or whatever it is? Are they just reacting to that? And they go, well, if I push this button that's third from the left, the pink one, and I stomp on it, I'll get to go outside. Well, they think it's more than that, because there's one dog in these videos that was pushing 2 buttons. It says, like, who this? And then it goes and looks in the mirror. Like,
Right.
and the owner is going, did you just say who this? And look in the mirror? That's you. That's you, bunny. And the dog looks like, whatever. Another dog was trying to get the owners like Frappuccino or something. He starts drinking it. So they took it away, and she said, no. The dog goes and stamps on it and goes, mad.
Yeah.
No.
Man.
Are you mad that I said no? And just like, and she starts laughing at the dog. I'm like, no, don't laugh. You got to be sympathetic with the poor thing. It's upset.
Mad.
Yeah, so,
Yes.
there's certain things that will lead us to believe that dogs have been around humans for what, 10,000 years or so.
Yeah.
And, they are quick to learn that whatever tools we give them to get the outcomes they want, they'll work with that. So this may be just another way of doing that. But I think there's something a little more intellectual about the dog's thought process. Obviously, they can't, think of abstract things like time and adjectives and verbs and what.
I'm late for my appointment.
Right. Poop tomorrow.
Zoom. Well, I know I've talked about my dogs before, but if you pay attention to them, I think in a lot of ways they will speak to you.
Mhm.
Just reading their language and understanding what they're trying to understand what they want. But I mean, I can see my dogs, especially one of them, Clutch. He'll when he's ready to go out, he'll come and tell you. You know, he
Right.
not hey, I need to go out. So he didn't have a word board like this, but I think they understand those kind of thing, a lot of that stuff.
If I
And
if I had
yeah,
a word board like that, I'd probably be stepping out in the middle of the night.
you know, yeah, but like stepping on
Boop,
Legos, yeah,
yeah. Boop. Stop. Where? Out. Oh.
yeah. Hey, your wi- your wife would be in the bed going, "What the hell's he doing?" Here, appointment, dog out.
Practicing my
Who this?
Dance Dance Revolution, honey.
Who this?
Good question. Who is this? Dog comes over and stamps out and says, "Shut up.
Yeah, shut up, sleep.
Sleep."
No, but I think animals are more intelligent than what you give them credit for. Sometimes they are.
Some are. Yeah, it really I would
No.
say there's different capabilities in each animal
Mhm,
and even probably among the breeds of animals because you've got to have a certain brain capacity or brain yeah, it's not all just instinctual. You know what I'm saying?
yeah. Well, I think it also helps. Like, the one thing I think Kim and I do a little bit more than a lot of other people I see that have dogs is we
Mhm.
actually talk to the dogs. Oh, you want this? Oh, you want that? Or you want to go outside? We actually use those words talking with the dog,
Yeah.
and I think talking to them probably helps them understand a few more words than normal. And I've read that, of course, my own quote unquote research. Dogs can understand about 250 words. You know, depending on what ones they use all the time. So I figured I'll just keep talking to my dog. You know, maybe they'll pick up something.
I just love seeing the reaction from my neighbors' dogs when they spot me because they know I have treats now.
Oh, you're
Unfortunately,
carrying treats?
yeah, I when I was going for my morning walks prior to the foot surgery, I would keep treats. So if I saw a neighbor dog, obviously I
Mhm.
wouldn't be creepy and cross the street and go, "Hey, who's your
Yeah,
dog?"
yeah.
But if we're on the same side of the street or whatever, go, "Hey, who's this?" And I would ask, "Is it all right if I give your dog a treat?" Well,
Mhm,
Doug and Janet, who live in the cul-de-sac with us, I'm often out and about and we'll see each other. So eh, those were the main two. They have two dogs, Orsay and Renee. And Orsay's a little older, a little more calm, a little nervous about traffic on the busy street.
mhm,
And Renee is just like this bundle of energy. So
mhm.
I'm out putting mail in the mailbox yesterday. Did not have any treats because I'm just getting the mail. I did not expect to see them. Usually I take the dogs for a walk in the morning and I catch them in the afternoon. And all of a sudden, Orsay's just like yanking on that leash for all it's given.
Oh, yeah,
It's a
yeah.
treat, man.
That's a treat, man.
I'm like,
Yeah.
oh crap, I don't have any treats.
All right, I'm out of treats, but here's a nice steak I had in the fridge.
You're welcome to have this used candy wrapper.
Yeah. Oh, oh, speaking of that, you know,
That was an unintentional segue that you must follow up
I
on.
know I gotta follow up
That
on this.
trigger.
All right, so, I was the only one in the house the other day, so Clutch and I were here, and I was upstairs sitting at this very desk working, and when I went down for lunch, I petted him and stuff. He was sitting up here with me, and I was loving on him for a minute, and I went downstairs and went, "The hell is this?" And it was like a bunch of paper torn up and
Oh,
foil, and I went Kim had bought my son, who likes the Toblerone candy bars. She bought him one, and Clutch ate it.
the whole candy bar?
The whole thing. It
I
wasn't like one of
thought
the
dogs
big
weren't supposed to have
Toblerones, it was
chocolate.
Huh? I
I thought
know.
dogs were supposed to have chocolate.
Right, exactly. They're not supposed to. So,
Ooh.
um, I was like, "Great. So now I gotta keep an eye on him." So, he sat around, he just laid up here with me. We went outside, everything's fine. He didn't exhibit a problem all day. I was like,
Maybe
"What?"
it's a myth.
No, it's not a myth. My wife worked at an animal hospital. It's not a myth, but she's like, "You need to keep an eye on him. He may have problems, in the poop arena." But nothing. No, nothing. I was like, That's just the weirdest thing. I was expecting him to be sick or
Right.
something. Nothing at all. He ate the whole Toblerone. It wasn't you can get the big Toblerones. It wasn't a big one. It was a smaller one, but still, it's like great. He had a bunch of chocolate.
The dog with the cast iron stomach.
I guess so.
All right, quick shout out to the chat room. We got a few people hanging out with us tonight.
Yeah,
Thank
we
you
do.
very much. We've got Fritz from Germany, sleepless in Germany, he says.
Yes.
We've got Mike and we've got Lisa, who says today in 1987, the Muppet Family Christmas aired. Again, making us feel old.
Hey, I used to love the Matt Muppet Family Christmas. I happened to see today a Johnny Carson
Yes.
episode when the Muppet Kermit and Fozzie were on there hosting because I guess Johnny was out.
I was flipping through Disney Plus and I came across the Star Wars holiday special. I went, oh, no. And then I looked real closely. It's like the Lego
Yeah.
holidays. Like, what?
Yeah.
What? No, come on. We're celebrating Life Day as Legos now.
Oh man, when that thing came out, I was all about that. I was down in front of the TV watching it, but it doesn't quite hold up anymore.
Oh, no.
I was all into that thing, man.
It's
I
all
was
we
looking forward
had.
to it. I was looking forward to it. And if I'm not mistaken, no, was it Battlestar Galactica? One of them got interrupted with the Iran hostage crisis, and I've watched the news for like 2 hours, hoping they were going to resume the.
No.
I think it was Battlestar Galactica, but yeah.
If you want to join us on Sunday nights live and join in the conversation, you can do that. We are around at 8:30 Eastern time, so you have to do a little math to figure out what time that is in your neighborhood. 8:30 Eastern on Sunday nights. We generally do that when we're around, when we're not on vacation or taking care of some family emergency or whatever. This happens to be one of those nights. Facebook and YouTube will be around there. So, what do you say we do a Remember When? We have an article from The Economist that I was not able to read completely because it says you needed an account to log in. But
You know what? I'm sorry. I put this in here and I didn't realize it had a paywall.
Are you smarter than a 10-year-old? New data suggests that shockingly, a large portion of adults in the rich world might not be. Roughly 1/5 of the people aged 16 to 65 perform no better in tests of math and reading than would be expected of a pupil coming out at the end of their primary school. According to a study released on December 10th by OECD, a club of mostly rich countries, worse still, adults in many places have grown less literate over the past 10 years.
The reason I put this in here is because I haven't read a lot in the last 10 years or so or more.
Now,
And a lot of
wait, define that. You haven't
Well, I mean,
read, like a book, but you're reading online material.
Oh, no. Well, what I'm saying is long form, like a novel or something like that. I mean,
Something that
we review-
engages your imagination, etc., not just technical reference.
Right. No, but I can
API
read stuff.
docs don't count.
Well, I'm trying to clarify it, Chuck. So what I'm saying is, when I try to read stuff, I think because for me personally, maybe you too a little bit, but when I've been in computers for so long, I feel like I'm looking for patterns more than being able to read the words easily. And I wonder if the internet's led to that because everything's like, especially the last several years with social media, lots of stuff's going on. There's a lot of attention grabbing stuff, but
Right.
I don't read a lot of long form articles all the time, nor do I read a lot of books. And again, for me, I think part of that is I start looking for patterns like I would when I'm debugging code or looking for a quick answer for the problem I'm working on. So I do think that the internet is probably exacerbating that a little bit. What do
I
you
would
think?
agree. I think some of that is natural tendency too, but I know that Donna still reads quite a bit. I don't know if it's to the same quantity that she had in her 20s, but she's an avid, voracious reader
Hmm.
and always has been. I think I told the story about getting her to convert to paper to digital, and that's just that's
Yeah.
assisted it. But she's like a lot of us, gets distracted by a series of videos on YouTube or Facebook or whatever, and
Hmm.
goes, "Oh, well, that just killed an hour." But uh,
Well, I am making an effort to read more, uh, well, like novels or even nonfiction, whatever, something that I need to focus on and pay attention to, because I think that that's something I've lost over time.
yeah, I mean,
Not having a good reading habit to begin with. That's why I think that's added to that.
I think so too. I've never really developed that muscle as an adult anyway. And if I said, "Oh, but there's so much to do in a day," you think about what you could take out. If you took out just an hour of television or YouTube or whatever, uh,
Hmm.
that's what I would call pretty mindless. Some of it, a lot of what
Yeah.
I watch is educational. Yeah, I like
Right.
watching histories, documentaries, that kind of stuff, exploration. And you'll see that there's speaking of patterns, there's a pattern in that in the Geek Library when I stick in my weekly set of links. But if I could just take an hour, even an hour a day, and say, don't don't watch a video for an hour. Go pick up a book or a digital book
Yeah.
or whatever it happens to be, and
Hmm.
swap out that time and just almost like give your brain a vacation.
Yeah. I'm not good at uh, really setting aside all the notifications, like turning them all off. I try to, but sometimes, somebody will walk in the room and say something to me. I'm like, uh, you know, I
Yeah.
can't,
Time to ignore
I
those.
can't get them. Yeah, but you know what else I was thinking of
Yeah.
to take this a step further is I wonder how. Okay, if I feel like the internet's kind of uh, taking this away from me a little bit, I'm sure other people too. What about AI? Is that going to make it even worse? People, I can just ask AI. You know, I can just ask Gemini on my phone. Who was the last 5 presidents? I mean, that's an easy question, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, I
Uh,
I don't know that that's a use case for replacing reading a book, though.
no, that's just reading a book. But I mean,
It's for finding
you're
answers or finding
you're right.
solutions or creating
Yeah, I mean,
creating more than
I think
absorbing.
I think what I'm thinking of is AI going to creep in even further, and not just about the read thing, but just using your brain to retain information, so you can make those connections rather than, oh, I'll just ask AI.
I don't think so. If
You don't
anything,
think
I
so?
look forward to it helping recommend, much like you do on Netflix with you through machine learning or
Hmm.
YouTube, where these algorithms can then find you better material to, go, here's a book you might enjoy kind of thing.
Hmm. Well, my boss did that. He was he was building a, a an online version of himself. He fed the AI a bunch of information about himself,
Mhm.
so he could like talk and ask questions basically with something that was like minded. And he got some interesting book recommendations. He said, so I think in some ways that could be helpful, but I'm not sure if I want to feed in bunch of personal information.
Right.
But I don't know.
All right. I think we wrapped that topic up. Let's move on to thanking our patrons. These are the people. Yep, there's music there. Okay, just checking. These are the people who make this show possible. Thank you to everyone who donates their hard-earned cash to Patreon. You can go to patreon.com/Technorama podcast for as little as $1 a show. To the likes of Alexis Duran, Amber Elstad, Amy Bowen, Abner Braverman, Ben Vaughn, Brian Brown, Chris Martinez, Chris MC, Dandy Man Coyer, Dean Jensen, Denise Inglis, Gary Lindros, John Clifford, John Noble, Yorga Shrowen, Crazy Joe, Kyle Nishioka, Leon, Mark Kilfoyle, Brad Miller, Mike Wills, Saturday Morning Media, Stephen Weshy, Steve Cody, Steve Therian, Steve Webb, Steve London, and Tim Cook. Woo! Right
There
on.
you go.
They have gone over, as I mentioned, patreon.com/Technorama podcast. Check it out. Not only do they get their name shouted out on the show, they get an extra episode of content of me and Craig, kind of behind the scenes, what's happening in our lives that doesn't make it into this show, and a postcard when we travel. We got the Star Trek cruise coming up. We got something special planned for that. Okay, we need to plan something special for that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we've got our annual t-shirt. I'm wearing our latest one from 2024.
Oh yeah, I need to put that on. I should be wearing
Says,
that.
I'm on the same wavelength as Technorama podcast. So there are certain tiers that'll get you certain swag.
So if you want to claim us, you can wear a shirt like that.
That's right. It's not just a promotion, it's a badge of honor. I
Badge of honor.
survived Technorama. Maybe that's the next one.
Yeah, it's almost like wearing a baby on board. Never mind.
I don't know where you're going with that one, but
I don't know either. I was just
it either. You just had to
Came
say
to my mind.
something.
I had to
Those
say
points.
something.
All right, let's go over to the media corner.
Welcome to Blockhead Video. Hey, where can I find some good information about music and TV and videos and things? Over here, in the media corner.
Our first article in the media corner is a video hosted by Jeff Dunham, the ventriloquist Jeff Dunham.
Yeah. And you know
he
what?
Yeah, go ahead.
When I started watching this, first thing I was like, why does he look so familiar? Because I had it in full screen.
Yeah.
And I went, oh, Jeff Dunham. I said, I know. He's the ventriloquist that I think he works in Vegas primarily. But yeah, he's the one that had the old man and the jalapeno and stuff.
Walter and Ahmed, the dead terrorist. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got he did a video unboxing an unopened Philco Predicta television. If you don't know what that is, kids, go look it up.
It's
They
the
had
TV
several models. I didn't realize they had several models, but their most notable, the Predicta, is the one that's got the picture tube that can swivel on top of a
Yeah,
base
it's like
console.
it looks like a big bubble on top of it. It's a CRT.
Looks like just the CRT. Like
Yeah,
there's
pretty much.
there's
Yeah.
no squared off corners. There's no bezel. No nothing. It's pretty innovative for what you get. And they had a whole model line of them. They had the low end one and the high end one, and one they called the gas pump. It looked like a gas
Yeah.
pump.
It did. Yeah.
And-
What was surprising to me, Chuck, I've seen these models. I don't think I've really seen a lot in person, but I've seen them around, over the years on videos or pictures and stuff, in the movies. I did not realize one of those had a long cable so that you could, that CRT,
yes.
you actually pick it up and move it. I went, oh, and so you could have the sound coming out and the channel selector right there
By
at the
your
side
chair.
of your armchair. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the TV is the
Yep.
CRTs sitting across the room. I was like, that is pretty cool. I did not realize that it did that.
And yet they went out of business. they only produced models for about 10 years, from about 1950 to 1960.
Yeah.
And the one that they unboxed was still in the original box with the original tape. In fact, they had a challenge opening the box because you're supposed to
know.
open it from the bottom and then lift it off rather
Yeah.
than lift the unit out. Because
Mhm.
if you had opened the top of the box and grabbed the CRT,
Yeah, that's what you get.
that's pretty much all you'd get, and you could damage the base unit that's still fixed in the bottom. So they started powering it on with a variable voltage device, because if they just plugged it into 110, it could have blown things up or started a fire.
Mhm.
They had some issues, went and replaced some parts, and then Jeff does one of those SpongeBob things, like 1 year later,
Yeah.
because he had
Yeah.
been sitting on the project because he had some work to do. He had a couple of shows to put together, and eventually did get it up and running. It was darned impressive
What?
that it was
Okay.
running with some. They had to swap out some of, like, what did the old resistor had like 3 resistors in one with really weird ratings, like
Yeah.
7 ohm, like
Yeah.
18 ohm, and it looked like this chewing gum stick that had turned into concrete and then
Yeah,
crumbled.
I think it had like 3 resistors inside
Yeah.
this one piece, and it looked like over time, the whatever it was coated with is kinda broken down. Anyway, other than that, it was surprisingly how clean the unit was. It looked just like it literally came off the shelf,
It
even
did
though it
literally
didn't.
just come off the shelf.
Yeah. I mean, it didn't work obviously, but, you open it up and it looked like pristine. It looked brand new.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool. So,
Yeah, they
yeah,
said
they ended up getting the parts.
you'll never see one come into the shop that looks this good because some of the
Yeah.
components inside of, I think, the power supply had this wax coating on them, and they said, "Yeah, these things heat up and all the wax just drips off and ends on the bottom of the box." But
Yeah.
this one actually had the wax on it. It was like,
Yeah.
it was
Yep.
it would be like going into an Egyptian tomb and the mummy looked like a human body rather than a desiccated corpse. No.
Oh, wow. He looks fresh. Oh, by the way, that Philco looks awesome too in this chamber.
Yeah,
I watched this entire video. I thought it was pretty
I
cool.
did too. It
Yeah.
was pretty darn impressive. I did not get a chance to read the Slashdot article about books that Bill Gates recommends. What do you have there?
Um, let's see. He had what was it? He said there was a book about it was about AI called The Coming Wave, and Gates calls it the book I recommend more than any other on AI to heads of state, business leaders, and anyone else who asks, which why don't you just say everybody? Uh, because it offers something rare, a clear-eyed view of both the extraordinary opportunities and genuine risks ahead. And there's a whole description about it. And I won't read all that. And he said Gates adds that of all the let's see, oh, he was talking about the anxious generation. This book made him reflect on how much of younger years, which were often spent running around outside without parental supervision, which, yeah, sometimes getting into trouble, helped shape who I am today. And it was
Hmm.
the anxious generation. I might check that out because I wouldn't say I was completely without supervision, but I sure did have a lot of leeway when it came to I'm going outside and it's all over the neighborhood and
Back by dark.
yeah, my parents wouldn't know where I was at. And I know I've seen a lot of people joking about that lately, that phenomenon. Oh, in the 80s, they just said, get the hell out of here and come back when the streetlights come on.
Yeah.
Which that's not far from the truth. So he also recommends engineering in plain sight. He
Hmm.
says this book encourages curiosity,
Mhm.
which I like that. I always joke with my dad because my dad's he's an electrical engineer. I'm sorry, electrical designer by trade, but I always tell him I always like trying to keep an engineering mindset. So I may have to check that one out when I'm looking at problems. I try to keep an engineering mindset. I'm not perfect at it. I don't know everything there is to know, but
Mhm.
I know a little about a lot. How about that? So get me on the right track. So got to keep that engineering mindset. How can I fix this problem?
Right.
And he finally recommends an autobiography by 81-year-old Pulitzer Prize winner, historian, biographer, and former sports journalist Doris Kearns Godwin, who assesses the impact of President Lyndon Johnson's policies on a surprising personal history of the 1960s. Okay. So there's the 4 books that he was talking about.
Nice. You were talking about the engineering mindset, and we were just having lunch today with an old friend that we used to work with about 20 years ago at Plexus, and she said, "Yeah, just got a new job position, and it's the first time I haven't worked in IT." And it's like 50 years
Wow.
old. And but she's still more of an analyst kind of role for this manufacturing company.
Mhm.
And I said, correct me if I'm wrong, but don't you find it fascinating that non-IT departments actually, kind of, how do they get along? How do they operate without procedures and processes?
Hmm.
It's like, oh, we're just, the kind of going by the seat of the pants, and what works, and nobody ever questions it until it doesn't work. So, I mean, she generally agreed, but I said, you go to marketing and like, do you know how you get something on the website? No, well, we asked this guy over here, and they're like, no,
Yeah.
no. And then you step in with an IT background and go, look, if we put this step first and this step second and this step third, and everybody
No.
follows these steps, it will work just great. And we'll
That's
have
not the way
no
it works,
problems.
Chuck. You know, an engineer, somebody, an IT guy, would go, oh, I know how to do it. Move over. And
No,
they put
the IT guy
Yeah.
doesn't want to keep having to respond to every little rinky-dink request.
no, but that's the way it works sometimes. I'm just
No,
saying. It
right.
is.
To be effective, it needs
Okay.
to have a process.
Now you've quantified it right. That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. But
All right.
yeah. Hey, wait a minute. I got
Yeah.
a question for you. So I know you worked in marketing for a little bit
Mhm.
towards the end of your career, but for the most part, you were in IT for your whole career, right?
Yes.
If you weren't, what would you be doing? What would you have done?
You mean what did I want to be when I was
What-
10 years old?
Yeah, yeah. What would have been what would have been another choice if you weren't? If
It
you
was,
didn't go in
it was
IT?
definitely going to be something STEM related. There was a point where I wanted to be a paleontologist. There was a point where I wanted to be an astronomer. So there was always that science technical slant. I've always enjoyed teaching and training and helping people learn more, but I felt I couldn't do that unless I had, that knowledge too.
Right.
So there's certain things that just follow this same recipe pattern throughout my life. So, it just computers kind of tripped my trigger, and I went, well, this is kind of fun. I can
Mhm.
build something out of nothing, make something that nobody's ever done before, or take something that already exists and modify it and do something new. Yeah, that was fascinating to me. And then when it came to problem solving, going, wow, we can actually, make something solve a problem here.
Yeah.
How about you? What did you want to be when you grew up?
If I had not gone into IT, well, I'm kind of with you. The same reason I got drawn into working with computers and IT and data, internet, whatever you want to, and
Mhm.
networking, curiosity. I mean, it got the best of me. I was fascinated by, hey, I can make this talk to that. All the while helping people that didn't do that kind of stuff. So I've been in doctors' offices, real estate offices, uh, all over Charlotte and everything, building out their networks. Now I was getting paid for it, but I was making their jobs easier. So that was the kind of thing I really enjoyed, was being able to problem solve and
Mhm.
help others. Problem solving, I feel like, I guess because I read a lot of crap off the internet, I feel like that I could put, oh, that problem could work with this solution, or this to make a solution.
Mhm.
And I always thought that if I could get a job just analyzing and problem solving, I'd been great. Um, the other thing I really enjoyed cartooning, which I never really pursued as much as I should have.
Mhm.
Cartooning and being radio. I wanted to be on the radio really bad, and look where I'm at today. Podcasting.
Miserable failure right there.
I got close. Yeah. So yeah, those are some of the things I would have done. Yeah, radio. I wanted to be on the radio so bad. I did do it for a little bit. I was in the radio.
All right, let's move on. We are running short on time, but we do have a few things that we want to share with you, what we've been watching on
Yeah.
the telly. That's not the right music.
Telly.
What?
Where we going?
That one. Wrong color. All right, my first one. I went back to the classics and I pulled up Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope, just because I
Yeah.
wanted to watch it. It was
Mhm.
like, I need something that I don't have to think real hard about, but yet I will still enjoy. It also still give the new TV and sound system a workout, so that was enjoyable. And I was sending you and some of the other people on our Facebook chat some pictures like, hey, look what I'm watching. Sent the picture where Aunt Beru and Uncle Owen were burnt to a crisp outside their house. And
Yeah,
Craig sends back a message that has a
their
picture of
pictures.
Peru and Owen when they were alive, side by side, with the new show title around it. So it says Star Wars Skeleton Crew.
Too
That one made
soon?
me too sweet. Maybe that's where they got the name from.
Right. Uh,
So,
um, all right. I'm sorry. I'm adding one more in here. I almost forgot. So, Kim and I actually watched Red One it's on Amazon Prime. It's kind of a Christmas action movie. It
mhm.
has Dwayne Johnson, The Rock. It has Chris Evans, J.K. Simmons is Santa, and smattering other people on there that you may know. Lucy Liu, I think, is in it,
Mhm.
and it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. The Rotten Tomatoes score was what 40% or something,
Ooh.
but it was kind of fun to watch. So it was okay in my book, and I think for the most part we enjoyed it. What's funny is Saturday night, Kim and I went out to dinner and stuff, and we went to this place. It's a brandy bar that we know of here in town, and they make drinks based on various brandies. So
Right.
I had an old fashioned, I had brandy instead of bourbon, that kind of thing. So we're sitting there, and we know the people, and everybody pretty much left. It was just Kim, myself, and um, the son of the owner of the bar. And he's like, "Oh, I got to turn this Christmas music crap off." And on the Roku TV, he goes, "I hope you don't mind. I'm gonna watch this movie. I couldn't finish. I didn't get to finish the other night because I fell asleep." He starts playing Red One. I'm like, "Oh, we get to watch it again." So he started playing it, and I was like, What's funny is, you know how you fall asleep in a movie, not quite sure where you left off.
Right.
Well, his time bar was at the end. There was the credits. I said, "Oh, you're in luck. You watched almost everything." He said, "No." He had to back it up. He backed it up all the way to like where it was like 45 minutes in. I was like, he barely watched the thing. Anyway, I would. It's on Amazon Prime. I probably wouldn't go pay for it in the theater, but I
Mhm.
enjoyed it nonetheless enough for streaming, so I can kind of recommend it in that regard.
I found one that I was just absolutely blown away by. It's called Wyatt Earp and the Cowboy War.
Hmm,
Wyatt Earp was one of the people at the OK Corral in
right.
Tombstone, Arizona,
Yeah.
for the famous gunfight at the OK Corral against the Clantons. If you haven't watched, you can go back and watch the great documentary Star Trek: The Original Series Spectre of the Gun.
What? 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 Okay.
Gives you an idea of what could have happened.
Right. Right.
Uh, but it gave a little bit of history of Wyatt and his brother Virgil and his brother Morgan and Doc Holliday and how they came to be. But it also said, okay, that gunfight wasn't the end of something. It was the beginning of something that
Mm,
really started to shape um, not just events in the town of Tombstone or the state of Arizona, or it wasn't even a state back then; it was a territory,
right.
or the country, but internationally. There were people involved with this post story, including J.P. Morgan. He was trying to land this big railroad investment deal over in London, and people are catching wind of, hey, wait a minute. People are getting shot up in your country. I don't think that's a safe place to put my investments. So he had an interest. Chester Arthur was the president, but he was so ineffective. And it was really interesting. I think it was a four part or six part, about an hour. So the total investment was about 5 hours of video watching, but great documentary. This is another wonderful Netflix production
Mhm.
to bring to life a lot of this stuff and the human story about it. I'm just gonna say Ike Clanton, not a good guy.
Hey, Chuck, I'll be your Huckleberry.
What?
Remember Tombstone? Val
No,
Kilmer? The,
no,
about Wyatt Earp, the movie?
I never watched that.
Oh my gosh. All right, you need to turn around and go watch that movie.
No, I need to stick with real documentaries, not Val Kilmer interpretations.
Yeah. It had it was awesome. Oh well. I'm surprised you didn't see that one.
Nope.
All
What
right,
else you
so
got?
huh? All right,
What
so
else you got?
the next movie we saw is one that just also landed on Netflix called Carry On. And Taron Egerton is a
I saw an
TSA
ad for
agent.
that.
Yeah, Taron is a TSA agent.
Mhm.
Jason Bateman is a guy trying to, I guess he's trying to pull a job. Anyway, I'm not going
Jason
to ruin
Bateman,
it.
what could possibly go wrong?
Oh, this movie was great. Well, let me back up. I wouldn't say great, but it was really really good.
Yep.
It was very Die Hard esque in some ways.
Okay.
So I would say that's a definite plus. Go see that one. It's on Netflix. It has a Rotten Tomatoes of like 87%. The tension was good. Uh, he was trying. Taron was trying to do what he was being asked to do,
Yeah.
and also foil the guy. And the tension was high, so he couldn't tell people what you know why he was asking them this, or that kind of thing. It was great. It was really good. So go check that out.
All right. And you said you squished in another one.
I got one more in because Superman is well, I mentioned earlier, maybe before we started recording. Superman, as we're recording this, the movie came out 46 years ago today, or this day. So I love that movie. I love Superman as a character to begin with,
Mhm.
and Superman, the Christopher Reeve story, is on Max, and so I was like, I'd forgotten it landed on Max. I think a few weeks ago, so I was able to watch it. It was a good documentary explaining or showing behind the scenes a little bit of his life and when he became Superman a little bit, and then of course the tragedy of him having the accident on the horse that took away his mobility, and
Yeah.
how it affected his family, and how they ended up turning around to make it a little bit more of a positive thing for a lot of people. So it was good. I think it went on a little long. You know, some of the things I was like, okay, we're hearing the same things from the same family members over time for a little while, but I'm not trying to be insensitive. It's just like, okay, I think the documentary is going on long, but it was well worth it. If you're a fan of Christopher Reeve, for sure, go check that out.
All right. Thanks for the recommendation. I've got a few links in the Geek Library if you're interested. These are some of the videos I've been watching on YouTube. A couple that I really, really enjoyed. Again, historical documentary kind of things. Pompeii, a video on Pompeii,
Hmm,
sits next to
yeah,
Vesuvius, and the counterpart, Herculaneum, which I think is even more fascinating than Pompeii in some ways. Not quite as famous, but very, very interesting. The there's
Herculaneum sounds like a energy drink.
mm, gives you wings. No.
Yeah,
Um, the Raspberry Pi 500. Somebody's got an unboxing of that and looks
yeah,
inside the Pi 500.
that looks
This is the
that looks
Raspberry Pi that's just a keyboard with some
yeah.
ports on it.
I think it looks fascinating. I may have to get one.
Yep. And the Johnstown flood. For some reason they kept feeding me Pennsylvania videos. I'm not sure why, but there was one on the Johnstown flood, what it looks like 131 years later.
Hmm.
And the ghost town on America's most dangerous. No, that was also one from Pennsylvania. The town of Luzanne, Pennsylvania, which is literally buried under a railroad right now. And there was the town that's been submerged for decades. Was it Morristown? No, I can't remember the name right now. But there's they basically made a lake and the town has been underwater, but the lake and river are really, really low and really, really dry. And you can go there and you can see the foundations of all the buildings and the
Oh.
old stone arch bridge that used to cross the river. Really kind of cool. I can't
There's
imagine what it smells like out there, but
Yeah, well, Lake Lure, right around the corner from me, they had all the flooding and stuff from the hurricane. Um, it's one of those, I can't remember the project the government did during, the Great Depression to hire people,
yeah.
where they filled there's a ton of man-made lakes all in the South, and probably other places too. But this is one, and the original town of Lake Lure, they sank it or flooded it. So it's under there. And people do go, I guess you can go down there and dive to it. I think the water's a little murky. I don't know if it'd be worth it. As a matter of fact, the fire truck that they have in the parade, they actually
Mhm.
pulled up out of the water and restored it. So
Oh,
they use
wow.
it. They use it in like a Christmas parade or something like that. I think I'm right on that, but yeah, it's
Cool.
pretty
Yeah, this one you
interesting.
don't even have to go diving. You can just walk down the old road right
I'm
into
gonna take.
town.
I'm gonna go look at that. Yeah.
Yeah, kind of a fun thing. The I'll warn you that the video is very amateur and the guy doesn't have a windscreen on his phone. So
So
about the first third is largely unintelligible, but and he's not an archaeologist by any means. He goes, "Here's something. I don't know what. Looks like could be a step."
right.
But fascinating to just kind of look around, especially through the perspective of somebody who doesn't know where they're going. All right, that takes us to the end of the show, the regular show. We do have I'm not sure why I put my stuff under question of the week. I think that was supposed to be under Patreon topic of the week.
Oh, where's our question of the
We
week?
don't have a question of the week. We don't have
Was
a
there not
question.
one in there?
But I've got some stuff coming up in the Patreon show, more about some Notion things that I've been working on, Android notifications, and some discoveries I've made there. And we'll
Well,
have to get our question of the week
just-
on social media next weekend.
yeah, social media. Go look for it.
Yep.
I'll post it up there
We'll get it.
towards the end of the week. Yeah.
We're slipping on this. We'll get it by show 800. Honest.
Only 30 more to go.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for hanging out with us. Let's play that outro music. Thanks for hanging out with us. You can get a hold of us on the listener line, 707-530-2428, or send us an email, technorama@chuckchat.com. Where is it, Craig? Where is it, Craig?
I'm going to it. Hold on. There.
The music should be your cue. It's time to put the thing up.
I got till episode 800.
Right. We're going to have a countdown.
Right.
Thank you, everybody, for hanging out with us on the live chat. We will hopefully see you soon. And until next time, tell a friend about Technorama and give them a binary high five.
101, everybody. Thank you. Thanks for listening.
The audio recording has completed.
Ewoks roasting on an open fire.
I saw that.
Hey, I think that's one of the songs you need to put on your ukulele. You need to write that one. You should write it.
I'm working on ideas for an original Christmas composition. I should have it done by next Christmas.
Okay.
But I might also do an original Star Trek song too, rather than a parody. We shall see. But until then, thanks for hanging out with us on the live stream. I'm going to hit the end stream button now,
All right.
and we'll talk to you again real soon.
Bye,
Thanks
everybody.
for watching. Bye.